What's going on YouTube, it's Jason, and today's video is going to be a bit of a mishmash. A life update, a chat about how my bulk is going, some injury updates, and also plans for next year. So let's dive straight into it. At the end of September, I competed in my first bodybuilding show, and the plan was to do the Gymshark show 2 weeks later. But after doing my first show, I realized that I didn't have as much muscularity or definition as I would have liked, and I couldn't be as competitive as I wanted to. Ultimately, I didn't leave long enough for prep, and I didn't see what difference 2 weeks was going to make to my physique. So I decided to skip the Gymshark show and compete again in 2024. The plan is to compete in another enhanced competition so I can see how I fare against enhanced athletes, and also at a natural competition so that I can actually make it fair for myself. So I embarked on a lean bulk from the 1st of October to gain some more size, and then maybe do a mini cut around the end of January, do another mini bulk for like 12 weeks, and then start my prep in June so I can be ready for October. I'm not making the same mistake this time. I want to leave myself at least 12 to 16 weeks. So I'm doing all of that. The bulk is going really well. I felt my strength going up, and then I start to feel this niggle in my shoulder. Now, I've had shoulder trouble for about 10 years on and off, but it definitely got worse in the month of November. And typically being me, I ignored it and just thought I'd push through it, back off the weights a bit, ice, do that kind of thing, but it kept on niggling. And I don't know whether I mentioned, but I was having a bit of trouble with my hip back from 2020, I think, when everyone started doing this whole give me 5, run 5K thing in lockdown. I started running, but typically me, I got overexcited and I started doing like 4 runs a week from doing nothing. And I started to feel a bit of a pull in my hip, but again, silly me, I pushed through it, and it was hurting on and off for the last few years. But this time last year, I got into a car accident. I didn't publicize it, but now I am. And essentially, someone hit me coming out of a car park. They moved off and I went over his bonnet. And in me kind of reacting and flinging myself over the bonnet to avoid essentially just snapping my leg, thinking back, I think that's the thing that made the hip and the shoulder injury worse, because before that, I was able to train without pain, even though I had those injuries. Anyways, I was ignoring those things and I decided to go and get a scan, and I scanned my hip and the results came back and I had a torn hip labrum. So I asked my GP and did some research into the injury, and it turns out that you can't completely heal a torn hip labrum. What you can do is strengthen the muscles around it, and it can reduce the amount of pain and how much it affects your day to day. But pretty much most people, to fully heal a torn hip labrum, would need to go through surgery and essentially do like keyhole surgery for the hip. Now, obviously, being a strong, fit, healthy man, surgery is not an option. So I've chosen the natural remedy route to try and manage the pain, and I'm doing a kind of hip rehab workout to help myself on the road to recovery. I'll be showing you a snippet of that in the next video. In relation to the shoulder, I got that scan. That again started to bother me in my sleep, whether I slept on it or not, and I knew something was wrong. I thought it was just a damaged rotator cuff, but I wanted to get an x-ray to see if it was anything worse. And I'm waiting on the results for that. I was told it's going to be about 2 weeks. Cool, now the bad news is out of the way. Let's go into a bulking update. So a little bit of upper body. It's been a bit of a weird sort of week with the shoulder injury. I'm just trying to be working around it and not aggravate it too much. I've kind of adapted my routine a little bit, so I'm not really doing any pushing or any direct shoulder work until I know what's actually wrong with it. Hopefully I can get the scans back next week. But for now, I'm just working around, listening to my body and trying to take it easy. I'm going to finish up this upper body session, and then I want to give you a quick physique update. So let's get weighed and do a quick physique update. So we are currently sitting at 81.7. So round about 3.5 kilos gained since my show day. Some will be water because I was obviously depleted on the show day. A tiny fraction may be muscle, but the majority will be fat. Essentially, as a natural, to build muscle optimally, you just have to be in a caloric surplus for a significant amount of time. And if you're more advanced like myself, you can probably hope for about a 50-50 gain. Obviously, when you're newer to training, a lot more of that's going to be muscle, but you can only build muscle so fast. I'll do a video on that in the future so you can, I guess, know the realistic rate of weight gain. But I always tell my clients that bulking doesn't have to mean getting fat. As you can see, I've gained a little bit of body fat, which is absolutely normal and expected, but I haven't got fat. I'm still probably sitting around 15% body fat, maybe just under. So you can still increase your calories and hold conditioning. So if I flex my abs, again, they're slightly faded, but they're there roughly. If I turn to the side, and if I go back round and flex, you can still see that I'm not a million miles away from my show weight and my show conditioning. So with next steps, I'm gonna wait to get my results back for my shoulder, see what that's saying, and I'm probably gonna either go into a maintenance phase and back off the weights to give myself a chance to repair my shoulder, or I'm going to go into a mini cut. I was supposed to do a mini cut in February, but you know, desperate times call for desperate measures. I'm injured, and so I need to decide what I'm doing with the hip and the shoulder and how I want to work around that. So yeah, very annoying news indeed. I've been training for the past 2 decades and I've been blessed with minimal injuries, but it seems like my body's going through a few changes. I am getting older, although I'm not old, and the recovery protocols that I would ignore in my 20s, I can no longer really ignore in my 30s without suffering detriment. So I need to obviously continue to train hard, but I also need to start training smart in terms of looking after my body. So my nutrition has always been good, but I have been known to skimp on sleep, and I don't really do much stretching or mobility, to be honest. And so that's something I'm gonna have to add to my routine. So yeah, moving on to my 2024 plans. Initially, I was toying with the idea of spending the winter in Dubai. Dubai was a great place, as I said, great for networking and lifestyle and vlogging and all that kind of stuff. But I just realized I want to focus on the growth of this channel and the growth of my presence on socials and essentially build the brand a little bit more. And so, yes, I could go away for 3, 4, 5 months, but I really want to get this channel and my Instagram up to 10K. That is the goal for 2024. It's an aggressive goal, but I'm here for it and I'm ready to work. And I find that when I stay in the UK and it's cold and miserable, I am far more focused than when I'm in Dubai. And so I think I can get more work done if I stay here and be a lot more productive. There is something about winter sun and pool parties that make it very hard to focus on business. And so staying in the UK where it's, for want of a better phrase, dry and boring, will help me to knuckle down and really focus on the things that matter. So yeah, that's where we are. My body is slowly breaking down, but still in the game. The bulk was going well, and I'll let you know what I decide to do next once I get the scan results back. And I'm staying put for the majority of 2024, and then I want to get away at the end of the year once I've hit my milestones. So yeah, that's it. A bit of a life update so you know what's going on with me. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Have a great Christmas, and I'll see you again soon.